Coach Bell, come over and have a seat. Join us here at Shane's Ribshack. Good to see you, Coach. First time to meet you. Talked to you a couple of times. What piqued our interest was the fact you guys had such a good year. And Mr. Timmons, he comes to our website quite a bit. He kind of been encouraged us over the course of time. Why not have these High Point Christian Academy guys over and talk with them a little bit? So here you are tonight. Coach Bell, talk about the success your team had this year. You guys had success in the regular season against Wake Christian, but here comes that playoff game and came up just a tad short. But that did not diminish the success you guys had this year.
Right. We finished 8-3. We're proud of our finish this year, but we started out 5-0. I think towards the end of the year, the injury bug got us a little bit. The size of our roster got us a little bit, but our success really based around the core group of our seniors. We had 8 talented, hard-working seniors that led the way.
And you talked about that roster. Roster's about, what, 26 or 32 in that range?
I think we're looking more like 26, and that included eight freshmen. So
wow, that's a young team.
We were slim, but again, had success early in the season against Southwest Guilford in a scrimmage.
I remember that was one of those scrimmages to the preseason, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
And also participated in a jamboree with 2 A schools and did real well there as well. So we started out well, and like I said, towards the end of the season, we had a lot of guys banged up, and as a result, that we let one get away.
Yep, and that was the team, like you say, you beat during the regular season. You hate to be able to capture that win and not be able to get that playoff win, because the playoffs you want to be, and plus it was a home game too. You get that first round at home, you say, man, we really need to win this game.
Absolutely. Beat Wake Christian at their place by 18 earlier in the year, and then come back and lose this game at home. That was tough, and it was a disappointment, there's no doubt. I mean, it's not going to cloud what we did this season, but it was a disappointment, and you can't turn the ball over 5 times, miss 2 field goals and an extra point.
And you've got a kid kicking those field goals. I love to jump in when people are talking. That's my main thing. If I got an idea, I jump right in.
That's fine.
Like jumping in the huddle, here I am, put me in the game. But you got this, I think it's Ethan Reeder, is that correct?
That's correct.
Reeder kid, I know he's a good kicker. One time he might have been at Grimsley years ago or somewhere in the neighborhood. I know his
Page.
Yeah, I know he's at one of the schools, but man, Reeder's a very good kicker. He's only a junior, isn't he?
He's a junior,
yeah,
and
he's kicking a mile and a half.
He can kick it long. He kicks over 50 yards in practice regularly. He was actually banged up all week. I actually was in bed all week until Friday, and got some therapy and tried to kick, and I think he was trying to do a little bit too much.
Well, talk about how you ended up at High Point Christian Academy. I know they've had football there for a few years now and had a couple of different coaches. Now, is this your first year there, I'm thinking, possibly?
This is my first year as a head coach. It's my 6th year overall.
You've been with the program then?
I've been with the program for 6 years. I think they've had a program for 7 years. So I started 1 year in and coached with the JV team, coached with varsity last year, came in as head coach this year. Prior to that, I played high school ball up in Pennsylvania. Came down here to play at Guilford College. And
came down to Guilford College?
Guilford College.
Good stuff, good stuff there.
Who
was your coach over at Guilford back in the day?
Oh, gosh.
Was that Coach
Saunders
Forbes?
And Forbes. Saunders and Forbes.
Okay, yeah. I remember Coach Forbes, yeah. Good years, good years. Now, when you finished up at Guilford, did you just stay in the area then?
I stayed in the area, took a local job here, and have never left.
And have you been coaching the entire time since you got out of college? Or?
No, I did. I've done some flag football. I've actually coached baseball for quite a while too. Baseball, coached over at Westchester Academy, and coached flag football for the YMCA program. Coached basketball. Kind of did all that, and then hooked up with an old buddy of mine, teammate from Guilford College, Lamar Boykin, who asked me to come over and help him out. He was coaching the JV team at the time, and been there ever since.
Interesting run for you. Did you ever coach with Coach Hammonds any at all over at Westchester? Was it Joey Hammonds?
Yes. Yeah, actually I was working for Joey Hammonds. Joey was the varsity head coach. I coached the middle school team with my son.
Yeah, because he's done pretty well. I think he's over at Wake Forest now, assistant coach.
Excellent coach.
Yeah, done very well. They've had some outstanding Westchester Academy baseball teams too.
They have, no doubt about it.
High Point Christian Academy, 8-3 this year. What had the record been the previous year? How far did you guys come this year as opposed to the year before?
Well, the year before they won 4 games. The most successful team has been 5-6. A couple of years back, they won 5 games. So they have not had a winning season until this year. So again, that's something I'm real proud of our seniors and players for accomplishing. And I think we've set the tone for the future as well. We've got a lot of good young players. We do lose some seniors this year, and that's going to be a challenge for us next year. But we've got the 9th grade class. JV was undefeated this year.
That's good you had a JV program, too. That means a whole lot.
That's correct. No doubt. That's a feeder for us.
JV were unbeaten. Did they pretty much play the same? Did they mirror your schedule of the varsity team?
It's similar. Their schedule wasn't all that strong, but and they were beating teams by 35, 40, 50 points a game. So they're loaded with talent. Both sides of the ball, skilled players, linemen. So we're excited about where we're headed there. Got a good junior class as well. And fortunately, when you have success like this year, the interest from kids on the outside
starts coming on. People start talking about that. A guy might say, "Hey, which this is the way sports, this is the way life works these days." And maybe a kid at one school, I'm not getting much playing time here. I feel like I can contribute. I want to go play someplace where I can play. It works the same way in college. So just maybe come to your high school. And
absolutely. We got kids that have transferred in this year from Dudley, Northern, Page, and I've been contacted. I can't tell you how many kids.
Okay. So definitely. Do you ever have like an open house over there? I'm sure you probably have a couple of open houses per year at High Point Christian Academy where prospective students come in. I'm gonna grab a hush puppy here. You grab it yourself there.
Had an open house a couple weeks ago. I know there's another one scheduled in February, and I think there's one in May. And I think they've got a kind of open door policy on Wednesdays as well. So I've had quite a few kids tour already that are interested in football. So we're
now. You may have told us earlier. I think you said you do not teach at the school, right?
I do not teach.
But do you come in? Excuse me, Mr. Hush Puppy. Do you come in for the open house?
I normally, yes. I'm usually there for the open house.
So you'll meet the kids, yeah?
I will get a chance. And I meet the kids if I know they're touring or interviewing. I try to make a point to make sure I at least shake hands with them. But I do have a lot of communication via telephone and emails with prospective kids.
All these kind of questions to ask Coach Bell. You got the off-season program going now?
We'll start. Kids started working out on Monday. 3 days after the loss, we had a number of guys working out. We do have several that play winter and spring sports, but we'll get at it real hard after Thanksgiving.
Any of these seniors going to college to play? Any college players off this team?
We do have. We've got a couple that are certainly playing college ball. We've got a few others that are looking at it. The kid Zach McLean played this year for their first year in years. Can't be too many linebackers out there better than what he is.
He's just starting to scratch the surface again, isn't he?
That's right.
Yeah. Now, you've had kids in the past, I'm not mistaken, to go out of High Point Christian Academy to go play college ball. At least one kid at Guilford, maybe a kid or two other places too.
Yeah, and there's been a couple play. I think there's one over at Campbell right now. And there's one that went up to Bridgewater, I believe, Guilford College. So there's been a few that have played. I think this senior class, though, will have more than any other class by far.
How has the landscape changed on the Christian school playing field over the past, say, let's go back about 30 or 40 years? I remember back in the day, you had teams like Wake Christian's been around with their team for years. It was a team like Kerwin over in Kerrsville had a team years ago. Some of the smaller schools had it. They dropped it when it was soccer. How's the landscape changed among the Christian school football programs over the years?
Well, I will say that the numbers is a challenge for us. And if you look around at private schools in the area, not many of them, well, really in Greensboro, none of them have football. And a lot of that has to do with the numbers. Average graduating class is under 70 for High Point Christian. So to try to field a team is a little bit of a challenge. I think the more we breed success, the more success we have as a team, the easier it is to get kids in that are interested in playing football.
Got to make this thing a specialized program. We've got an outstanding football program. I think you've had success with this. The numbers are different, what you're trying to get with basketball as opposed to football, but Coach Clifford's been able to do that in basketball in a pretty good way.
That's right, and we're going to continue to work on that. But it is a challenge, and to look around and see that the Greensboro days and Westlands, they haven't jumped into that arena yet, but we're
Forsyth Country Days in there though, right?
They do, but they played a limited schedule because of their numbers and didn't field a team last year. So there is a challenge there. We're going to play Bishop McGinnis next year. Hopefully start a rivalry there.
That'd be good. That's kind of like a private school playing a public school schedule.
That's right.
Program. Yeah.
That's right.
So that could help you a whole lot too over the course of time. You kind of look at High Point Christian Academy. Any luck getting the basketball players to come play for the football team? Because I know a lot of these schools lately have had success taking these basketball players and turning these guys into football players.
No, we haven't had a lot of success with that. I'll be honest with you. I think because of the timing of it, they're playing up at Oak Hill today as we speak.
Oh, they are. Thursday today is Thursday playing Oak Hill, exactly.
So so if we were playing, we were still in the playoffs right now. There's some overlap there, which creates a little bit of a challenge. But
because they do start early.
They do. Yeah. We'd love to see some of the basketball players play football as well, no doubt.
What do you think the future is for High Point Christian Academy of this football program? How do you see this program growing? How do you see the future being laid out here?
Well, I think we've laid the foundation right now, and I think we're seeing results of that already with kids from other schools with interest in the program. So I think the sky's the limit, and I believe that. I'm not going to do anything but pursue that until we get there. And so, yeah, 8-3 is a great year. We're happy. At the same time, we left 2 on the table out there with an 18-17 loss when we had 5 or 6 guys banged up. And
was that the prep game?
That was the Winston-Salem
Yeah, because
prep game.
I was doing my picks on my website, and I had to kind of lean toward them since they had sort of a little public school experience. They had the record coming in. You'd say, well, this one's prep was like 1-7 or something coming in. Anything. And these guys, you guys would murder them, but they were a respectable team.
They were a respectable team. I still believe we were a much better team than they were. But I looked over on the sidelines at halftime, and we had 5 of our key guys out for the game, and so that was big. That was a big part of that game. But we didn't execute. We didn't get it done. Look forward to playing them next year.
Coach Bell with us from High Point Christian Academy, the Cougars. Let me mention some of the kids on the team. We'll get them over in a couple of minutes. What about go back to Zach McClain again? What Zach meant to the team having him back there, because at one time I think he was at running back. He moved into running back. It was like you got here comes a big Franco Harris kind of guy in that backfield, trying to bring back some old names.
That's right, and we had to convince Zach to come out and play football. He's an excellent baseball player, and he's focusing on baseball, but his size and his athleticism, made him a kid that we really wanted to come out. He did finally agree to come out in July, and man, was he ever a player for us. He led our defense in tackles, helped solidify the offensive line until we had a couple of younger guys get healthy, and then played some tailback for us. And you saw what he did at tailback. So he averaging over 10 yards a carry both games. Wish we could have got him in there earlier in the season, but just didn't have the depth to do it. Excellent athlete. Should be a D1 football player.
That's the kind of guy you kind of look back and say, boy, and we're selfish in this regard. So I wish I could have had him just one more year to see what he really could have done.
No doubt. Both sides of the ball. He's an excellent player.
What about this young man, Mr. Streeter, Malik Streeter?
Malik Streeter, big play guy. Battled some injury all season long, but when he touches the ball, he's always a threat to score. So we're going to miss him next year too, at corner, receiver, at punt return, kick return. One of our captains this year, and like I said, anytime it gets exciting when he touches the ball.
And those are the kind of guys we would notice your box scores. Those are the names we would see over the course of the season.
That's right.
What about Justin Timmons?
Justin Timmons. Again, play both sides of the ball, and that's something we have to deal with as a small school. Is these guys, they do get gassed, they do get tired, but Justin did the same thing pretty much as Malik. Actually asked him to play some tailback early in the year. Actually played tailback all throughout the year, but more so earlier in the year. Had a game with 4 interceptions on defense against First Assembly. Led the team in interceptions with 7 or 8. Athletic, skilled ball player. Again, another guy we're going to miss next year.
What about David Norris?
David Norris. Now, I've had David since I think he was in 6th grade when I first started there.
Wow.
He was a quarterback, a young quarterback for the JV team. Big kid, strong arm. Another player that's getting looks from some of the D1 schools. He's big, strong, athletic, and smart as well. Extremely smart kid.
And Andrew, is it Couliard?
Andrew Couliard could not be here tonight. But
he could not make it. Okay.
Could not make it tonight. He's a student body president. He's up at the Oak Hill game. Felt like he needed to do that. But Andrew was, we based our offense and defensive line around that young man. And I'm telling you, as far as technique and skill, I didn't see better than him all year long.
Yeah, it was interesting because they did that question and answer with Andrew in the News and Record. I thought that was a good article there. Had he played for Wake Christian before?
He did.
I thought he was with Wake Christian. He ends up getting to play against his old team here this year.
Yeah, he transferred.
Twice, yeah.
That's right. Transferred down. That was a big game for him too. Very upset after that game, but transferred down. I think parents got moved for job related and moved down to the High Point area. And man, we're sure glad we had him. He's an excellent ball player.
That gave you a bona fide guaranteed big man.
That's right.
Yeah.
We moved him around each week depending on where their best lineman was. That's where he was across.
And he's the kind of guy too in that question and answer situation. For him, he loves football, but it's almost like football is not the be all end all. There's other things in his mind he realizes in life too.
And again, could play Division I football, but has decided to pursue. Wants to be a youth pastor. Wants to devote his time and energy towards that. So I wish him luck.
That's a good one. A good young man. Coach, what about your goals for the next, say, 10, 15 years as a coach?
Next 10, 15 years as a coach. I don't know that I've gotten that far out, so kind of taking it one year at a time.
10.
But I will say this, right now the primary goal is to build a High Point Christian Academy football program. I think we've got a good start on that. My son's a junior this year, will be a senior.
Good to have that, yeah.
We're trying to build from the bottom up to not just for next year, but looking at guys at the middle school level, junior JV level, so that we have a program every year. So at this point, I don't really look that far down the road. I'm looking looking towards building that program to be tops in this area.
Should be getting interested too, because Coach Rainey over at Southwest Guilford, his son's a young quarterback. It's kind of neat to see the coaches had their kids or those young quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks of the future.
That's right. Yeah, Coach Rainey's got a very talented young man. My son's a receiver, defensive back, but we've got some quarterbacks that have interested in High Point Christian right now from other schools. So, we're real excited about next year.
So, what would you say your purpose would be in life? You think?
What my purpose in life?
As a coach, as a leader, kind of thinking about that. I thought that'd be a good question. I thought about that the other day.
That's a good question. Now, as far as purpose, I love my family. I love my Lord. Those are things that are, at the tops of my list as being important. Football as well. I think, if God-given talents is that I've been given is working with young men. Like I said, I've been coaching or mentoring kids for the last 15, 20 years. Enjoy doing that. Enjoy working with these guys. Enjoy the relationships more than anything else. And so, as much as I love the game of football, the relationships with these guys meant more to me than anything else this year.
And I'll ask you one more question. I'll ask the guys this one too. Say if you had your cell phone taken away, you had no more TV, had no more computers, just completely all this is gone. How would you spend your time? All that's taken away. What would you do with your time then?
Oh, I've got a farm, so I'm out.
Good stuff.
I'm out. Yeah, we held a mini camp down at my barn.
For your football, okay.
Football
how close is your farm? As the old saying goes among the farmers and the people who lived in town. How close is your farm to town, as they would say?
Oh, it's very close. It's 3 miles away. It's just at the edge of Davidson County. But it was a great venue for us to build. The team concept. We spent a lot of time together down there the first 2 weeks of the season.
It's a good bonding place.
It was great. So I do a lot of outdoor work, as you can imagine. I work out at the gym every day.
Do you have animals and stuff like that on the farm?
Working on that right now. So I've just bought it a year ago.
Good
so
deal.
I'm getting the property.
I read an article in the paper. You may have read the same article last Saturday about this guy. I think his name was Jason Brown. Used to play center for Carolina. Went to the pros. Spent about 7 or 8 years. He's got a farm, eastern part of the state, over 1,000 acres, and just raises crops. He raised like 46,000 pounds of sweet potatoes and just gave them to some of the Habitat Humanity groups that come
wonderful.
in. I mean, just gleaning groups come in, just took all the potatoes. Here they are, and that's neat to see what people can do with some things like that. The farms occasionally.
Right. Yeah. So we spent a lot of time out there, my family and I. It's been good for us as well.
Will you have a farmhouse and burn wood at the fireplace, all that kind of wild stuff?
No, I have a house that's actually right down the street from. It's less than a half a mile from my farm. But we're down there a lot. I've got picnic tables down there. We've got a fire pit down there, four-wheelers, and so we do some of that stuff too. We do little target shooting, things like that. So.
Have you ever met Coach Roscoe at Northern Guilford? Ever met him over the years?
I've not met him.
He's another Guilford College grad. That's kind of mention another thing you've got in common with him. Plus, he's got a huge farm down in South Carolina. He's a farming man too.
I did not know that.
Took a year off from coaching, went down to the farm last year and decided he better get back into coaching again.
He's had good success.
Yeah. Well, listen, Coach, let's bring a player or two in. Let's get Zach McLean in first.
Okay.
Here.
Thank you.
Yes,